ladies and gentlemen, the stage is set, and we are here. This is it. The time has come. I said the time has come. From the four corners of the world to the four corners of this ring right here at Wembley, London, England, the fight starts now! Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the black trunks with the silver lettering. He scaled 18 stone, 5 pounds. His professional record, 21 fights, 21 victories, 14 of them coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of Saginaw, Michigan, USA. Here is the 989 assassin, Jermaine Franklin. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner. He wears the white trunks with the gold trim. He scaled 17 stone, 13 pounds. His professional record, 28 victories, 3 defeats, with 19 big wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the former British heavyweight champion. Here is the former WBO International Heavyweight Champion. And here is the former WBC Interim World Heavyweight Champion, fighting out of Brixton, London, England, known as the Body Snatcher, Dillian.
So referee John Latham bringing both boxers together to issue the final instructions.
Right, lads, you know, expect from you both, you're obeying the instructions at all times. When I tell you to break, you both break clean, defend yourselves at all times, and then best luck to you both. Touch gloves.
Well, Stephen Nolan will be coming up at the conclusion of this program, but right here and now, it is heavyweight boxing scheduled for 12 3-minute rounds, but don't be surprised if it ends early, giving the heavy-handed power that both of these boxers possess. So we're underway then, 12 3-minute rounds in the heavyweight division, in a battle where the winner has been talked about as an opponent for Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua ringside here tonight, keeping a close eye on the proceedings between these two heavyweight protagonists. Dillian Whyte, the taller of the two men, wearing white trunks trimmed with gold. He stands at 6'4". The shorter boxer, Jermaine Franklin, wearing a black gladiator's tunic and shorts beneath it, and he's made a confident start as Jermaine Franklin leading off with the right hand before coming back with a left jab and a left hook. But now Dillian Whyte on the front foot, looking to establish his long left jab. He's got an inch longer reach, 78 inches against the 77 of Franklin. But Franklin sitting in the pocket and scoring with counter left jabs effectively. Whyte on flat feet, just backing up Franklin towards the neutral corner on the far side of the ring. Moving to his left and digging away with his left hand in the form of a hook is Jermaine Franklin. Dillian Whyte scores with a left jab to the body. Franklin tries to counter with the same shot, but it was blocked by the right elbow of Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte operating a cross-arm defense with his right hand and just long bridging with his left, waving it out and around, then down by his kneecap. Jermaine Franklin with his right hand tucked up by his head glove to the temple. He takes a hard right hand to the body of the straight variety from Dillian Whyte before countering with a left jab of his own. There Franklin comes back with a left jab once more to the body, and then as Dillian Whyte went downstairs, counter right hand was dug in by Jermaine Franklin. And not the maximum violence that we perhaps anticipated from Dillian Whyte, measuring his man, looking for that right hand to the body once again. Franklin countered with a right hand to the head, but he just slipped off the side of Dillian Whyte's head, who is sporting a mohawk haircut as he scored with a left right to the body, then a left hook, but he's countered by a left jab upstairs by Jermaine Franklin, who in this the biggest bout of his career, bar none, is showing admirable composure in his first fight overseas. 2 minutes gone in this opening round. The action is in the middle of the boxing ring. Jab attempted to the body by Franklin is blocked by the left forearm of Dillian Whyte. Both boxers keeping their right hand up near their temple, effectively performing the salute with that glove to ward off anything coming in from the left flank of their opponent. The left hand's far freer on both boxers. There's a brief coming together of the physical variety on the inside. Beautiful double jab to the body from Jermaine Franklin. Long left hook from Dillian Whyte. Just glances Franklin on his temple, and now the two boxers tangling on the inside. Two-shot salvo to the body with the palms turned upwards from Dillian Whyte. Franklin countered with a left hook to the chest of his own. Long left hand to the sternum from Dillian Whyte to the scoring shot. Franklin just backing up towards the neutral corner on this near side of the ring. We're approaching the 10-second clapper. 14 seconds remaining in this opening round as Franklin scores with a scoring left jab. Just flicking it out, Dillian Whyte responded with a left jab to the body, and it's Franklin getting busy with the left hand once again, turning a jab into a hook. Hard left hand sunk into the belt line of Jermaine Franklin by Dillian Whyte. A competitive first 3 minutes. 4 to the measured tempo, but make no mistake, both boxers enjoying plenty of success. Fraser Clark, your thoughts?
Yeah, good round, measured. You know, both had little bits of success, like you said. I think Jermaine Franklin's definitely got the edge on the hand speed, and Dillian Whyte seems to be, you know, just taking his time, nice and patient. He's very experienced, and you can tell that. But sort of a feeling out round for me.
Yeah, for me, I feel like Dillian Whyte is playing catch up a little bit. You know, Franklin's showing that he can go first. He's shown that he can counter punch, especially off that side with the left hook counter. So Dillian Whyte needs to vary his jab up. He needs to throw some feints. He needs to gauge what's coming back and switch on a little bit more. Get the initiative, whether that's throwing or feinting.
The voice you just heard is that of Lee Wood, the WBA featherweight champion of the world. The voice you heard prior to that is Fraser Clark, the Tokyo Olympic super heavyweight bronze medalist. There are co-commentators and expert analysts here ringside at the OVO Arena, Wembley. Into the second round we go. Dillian Whyte out to the center of the boxing ring, peppering out a left jab, but again a rapid-fire counter left jab comes back from Jermaine Franklin. He said that he's going to get the W. That's what he guaranteed. And he said that Whyte's knockouts, 2 of them have been on single uppercuts. One from Tyson Fury last time out. Alexander Povetkin in their first encounter took him out with a left uppercut at Matchroom Square Garden, and an uppercut was included in the barrage of punches that Anthony Joshua used to take out Dillian Whyte to give him his first professional loss. Both men appearing incredibly composed as Dillian Whyte, looking to double and treble up the jab, came back with a right cross over the top as well, but all of the shots were off the mark. Jermaine Franklin just parrying the left jab that came in his direction before firing back with a straight left of his own. Dillian Whyte made him miss and then looked for a counter, but neither man finding the range. Scoring straight right cross to the body from Dillian Whyte, countered by a left jab to the body from Jermaine Franklin, and a beautiful left right from Jermaine Franklin. Left hook around the guard, right hand straight down the pipe for a 2-shot salvo comes in response from Dillian Whyte. Straight left right to the body just above Jermaine Franklin's belt line. Then with Franklin's hands down, Dillian Whyte scores with a left jab to the head. Franklin countering with a left jab to the body of his own. Then the two boxers exchanging jabs. They're occupying the center of the boxing ring. Right hand over the top to the body from Jermaine Franklin, countered by a right uppercut to the body from Dillian Whyte, and then he scored with a right cross, then a left hook to the body of Jermaine Franklin, who shook his head contemptuously in the direction of Dillian Whyte. And when a boxer makes that type of gesture, suggesting that they weren't bothered by the punch, you can be sure that it got their attention. And then a burst of punches from Jermaine Franklin, including an eye-catching left jab and right cross to the body of Dillian Whyte. And this is competitive through the midpoint of this second round. Dillian Whyte keeping composed, left jab to the head, right cross to the body, but Jermaine Franklin showing his competitive spirit and coming back with 3-4 jabs of his own to both head and body. Dillian Whyte scores with a double left jab, just backing up Franklin towards his own corner, the near corner on this side of the boxing ring. I can reach out and touch the right leg of Jermaine Franklin as he's near the strands just above our commentary position, and he's remaining in that rather confined position. Dillian Whyte seemingly content to remain in first gear, and that is allowing Jermaine Franklin to be in this fight every second of the way. Scored with the left jab while on the back foot, on top of the boxing logo in the middle of the boxing ring. And it's Dillian Whyte dropping down with a good right cross to the body, followed by a left hook, but he was countered over the top by a good straight shot combination from Jermaine Franklin. But then Dillian Whyte coming back with a hard left-right salvo, his most solid punches of the entire fight. Jermaine Franklin keeping his composure though, scoring with a left jab between the cross-arm defense of Dillian Whyte to his body. Dillian Whyte remaining in the pocket, bobbing and weaving, employing a cross-arm guard which caused all of Jermaine Franklin's straight punches to be off target. Another competitive 3 minutes of boxing in that second round, Lee Wood.
Yeah, you know, I think I'd lean towards Franklin that round again. It was very, very close, so possibly even an even round. I think Dillian Whyte needs to be a little bit more decisive on after he's thrown his punches. He's trying to roll, he's trying to block, he's all over the place, you know. Make a decision after you've thrown.
Really competitive fight, you know. I think what we've got here definitely is a great matchup, and I can only see this one heating up and becoming better. For me, Dillian Whyte just needs to establish he is the bigger man. He has got, you know, the more power, but he's got to get that jab off. You can't just walk in. Jermaine Franklin seems to have really, really fast counters, and he's also just got great hand speed. You know, the fight's at a really slow tempo, and I think this is for someone to now go and take the fight by the scruff of the neck.
So both boxers up off their stall to answer the bell to begin round number 3. Dillian Whyte had to get pushed back towards the blue corner by referee John Latham after encroaching towards that prime piece of fistic real estate. And it's a slightly brisker start from Dillian Whyte, now bobbing and weaving from the waist to present some head movement in the direction of Jermaine Franklin. But Jermaine Franklin countered with a left jab to the head, scored with another left jab to the head. The first counter was to reply to a left jab to the body scored by Dillian Whyte. And Jermaine Franklin just on the edge of range, busy and varied with that left hand. The jab turned into a hook. Dillian Whyte thought about launching an attack, and now it's a short mid-range. Dillian Whyte looking for the right uppercut and left hook. He's breathing through an open mouth. Double jab to the body from Jermaine Franklin. Then a left jab, right cross, left hook from Jermaine Franklin. Causes the shower of spray to fly from the Mohawk hairstyle of Dillian Whyte. The side's completely clean. He's got a stripe down the middle. Jermaine Franklin with his plaited hair tied into a bun at the back. Dillian Whyte bulldozing Jermaine Franklin to the ropes, but Franklin steps off the ropes, takes a left hand out, threatened to stray low. No complaint from Jermaine Franklin, who is using the left jab beautifully. And there's another solid left hand sunk into the abdomen of Jermaine Franklin from Dillian Whyte, turning his palm to the ring lights and getting plenty of leverage on that shot. But then Jermaine Franklin responding with touching left jabs, really piling up the points with that shot. Double left jab, right cross. Another left jab to the sternum from Jermaine Franklin. The two boxers exchange jab. In the middle of the boxing ring, heavy leather unfurled by Dillian Whyte with another left hook to the body. Left jab, right hook fired in by Jermaine Franklin. Then the two men looking for shots on the inside. And Dillian Whyte not suggesting that he's feeling the pace as he lands a hard right hand to the chest and then sinks in a left hook to the body beneath Franklin's left elbow. But he's on flat feet, his mouth is open, and as of yet, he hasn't got himself out of first gear. And Franklin, left hook around the corner, followed by a right hook, a right cross that landed. Brings a response from Dillian Whyte. A burst of activity to the body. 50 seconds remaining in this round, and Jermaine Franklin is growing in confidence by the second. His first overseas mission, and here you see him competing on even terms with the former world heavyweight title challenger. It was such a lengthy wait for Dillian Whyte to get that heavyweight title shot. Over 1,000 days as a mandatory, and when it finally came, as Fraser Clark alluded to, well, it was a rather passive display before being taken out by Tyson Fury. Here, he's got his hands full with Jermaine Franklin, who is not being bowed by the crowd as he scores with another straight right cross to the body, and now the two men are short and mid-range. Another good left hook sunk into the body by Dillian Whyte, and as the 10-second clapper sounds, there is very little to separate these two boxers through this third stanza of boxing. There's the bell to conclude what was another incredibly hard-fought close round. Fraser Clark, how do you see that one?
Yeah, I see that one. Definitely, Jermaine Franklin, you know, he will be growing in confidence from this, but I think at the same time, I think Dillian Whyte may have just found his range. He was landing a few body shots in there, and they will take the toll with the big men in the later rounds. So, you know, I think the pace is slow. Dillian Whyte is landing them little body shots inside that literally just take the wind out of you, and I don't feel like he's bothered about the power coming from Franklin. So I think he's going to keep forward, plodding away.
Yeah, you know, I think Franklin is a superior boxer. I think Dillian Whyte is getting caught on the counter. You know, he's throwing and Franklin's throwing back, and he's not realising he's getting caught in between blocking, defending and throwing again. But Dillian Whyte is starting to use his physicality, his size He's starting to impose himself like he did the last round, and I'll give him the last round.
It's James Buddy McGirt issuing the instructions over in the blue corner. It's Jesse Addison in the red corner just above us. Plenty of experience giving the instructions to both boxers. So into the 4th round we go. Dillian Whyte marching across the boxing ring and looking to keep Jermaine Franklin pinned in his own red corner. Franklin intelligently spinning off to his left and jabbing his way out of that confined position. And it's Dillian Whyte looking to establish his lead left jab. Now he's dynamic in his boxing stance, is Dillian Whyte. Dipping at the knees, bobbing and weaving. But Jermaine Franklin intelligently scoring with a jab to the body, which by definition will move less than the head. Hard left-hand body shot slammed in again by Dillian Whyte, continuing to invest in shots downstairs in a bid to slow down the movement of Jermaine Franklin in later rounds. Dillian Whyte in his 12th scheduled 12-round contest tonight. It's the first 12-rounder for Jermaine Franklin. So is Dillian Whyte's plan to take him into deep water and slowly drown the man metaphorically in the later rounds? But thus far, this contest being fought at a slow tempo but on very even terms, and the jab is a prominent weapon in the armory of both boxers. Left-right combination to the body from Jermaine Franklin, followed by a left jab to the sternum of Dillian Whyte. Tries a body shot which straight around the rear of Dillian Whyte. Hard front foot feint from Dillian Whyte at the center of the boxing ring. Franklin didn't bite on it, so perhaps it wasn't utterly convincing. Double left jab, triple left jab from Jermaine Franklin, all to the body of Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte just giving the impression of a man who is comfortable to perhaps not take but ride and punch with Jermaine Franklin, and there he uncoils a right uppercut followed by a left hook, both partially blocked by the glove defenses of Jermaine Franklin. Franklin comes back with a double scoring jab to the body of Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte, hands peering between high held hands, picked off by a corkscrew left, and now Dillian Whyte establishing a flat-footed, stiff left jab over towards the neutral corner on the far side of the ring. Well, Dillian Whyte takes a hard right hand to the body, which was turned into a right cross to the head. Then Dillian Whyte responds with a hard right hook to the left flank of Jermaine Franklin. But Franklin appearing untroubled and unperturbed by the body shots that he has taken. Both men with poker faces. Left hand around the corner, right hand between the gloves of Dillian Whyte from Jermaine Franklin. 2-shot salvo scores to the body, palms turned upwards as Dillian Whyte sunk down and slammed that successful combination in. Single shot success was blocked by the right. Single shot was blocked by the right glove of Dillian Whyte as the boxers exchanging jabs. Final 30 seconds of this 4th round, and Jermaine Franklin, again, we have to comment on the man's composure, because he's looking incredibly comfortable up there in the boxing ring. There he snakes an accurate right hand around the rear of Dillian Whyte's left glove. That was preceded by a left jab that scored for Jermaine Franklin, and a double left jab once again. So not as much pop or potency on Jermaine Franklin's shots, but make no mistake, he is piling up the points behind an educated lead left hand. Dillian Whyte having success with some heavy punches to the body. Let's head over to the blue corner and listen in to James Buddy McGirt, Dillian Whyte's trainer.
Don't look for the one punch, okay? Stop putting your punches together. You're getting away from it. You're looking for one punch. Don't do the one punch. 2 and 3s, okay? Okay, boss. All right? But now, listen now, this is what he's doing. When they hit it 10 seconds.
So 4 rounds completed. Lee Wood, how are you seeing it thus far?
You know, I think Franklin's got the technical edge. Dillian Whyte, like I said 3 rounds ago, he needs to come away from that defence. It's so indecisive. He's crossing his arms along his chest and his chin, trying to block some shots to get him through. He's not in a position to counter off the block. You know, he needs to do something with that defence.
Yeah, you know, if I was Buddy McGirt, I'd be really telling Dillian Whyte to wake up. He appears to just be sort of moving really slow at the minute and not doing enough.
So into the 5th round we go. We mentioned Dillian Whyte's rise from the small halls of London through to the grand stages of the O2 Arena and indeed Wembley Stadium in his challenge for the heavyweight championship of the world. He fires off with a right hand and left hook to the body. Franklin again countering with his left jab while he's being touched up downstairs. Then a right hook is a scoring shot on the temple of Dillian Whyte from Jermaine Franklin. Jermaine Franklin near the neutral corner on his near side of the ring, just adjusting his protective cup, tries the left hook, but sharp defenses with the right glove from Dillian Whyte, who answered the telephone, putting that right hand to his temple to block the shot that was coming in. Educated uppercut sneaks between the gloves of Jermaine Franklin from Dillian Whyte, and then he scores with a two-shot salvo to the body. But then 4 left jabs from Jermaine Franklin, where he's showing wonderful variety, going up and down to the big body of Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte comes back with a hard two-shot salvo to the body. John Latham stepping in immediately and telling Dillian Whyte to keep his punches up. And now he's called time, and he's spoken to Jermaine Franklin to see whether he's okay. And now the action resumes, but after stern admonishments in the direction of Dillian Whyte from referee John Latham about the fact that his punches are straying low. Dillian Whyte turned it into a running conversation by intimating that Franklin's protective cup is riding up to around his armpit. Sharp left-right combination from Jermaine Franklin at ring center, penetrates the defenses of Dillian Whyte once again. Then a right hand over the top, a right hand lead was caught by the right glove of Dillian Whyte, but it still just disrupted his balance and sent him backwards a little bit. Dillian Whyte, again, flat-footed in the middle of the boxing ring, takes a hard right hand to the body. Dillian Whyte responds with a double left hand of his own. Hook to the body, then an uppercut to the head. But Jermaine Franklin is turning this into a 50-50 affair, which is perhaps a real surprise, given that the bookmakers, who don't often get these things wrong, had Dillian Whyte as an odds-on favourite, a 12-1 favourite. But Dillian Whyte is being competed with on even terms by Jermaine Franklin in this, his 22nd professional contest and the biggest contest of his career. Jermaine Franklin has retreated to the red corner, but he's bombing away with the right hand. Uppercut to the head, but now Dillian Whyte with Franklin in that corner, looking to turn the tide. But then Jermaine Franklin with terrific footwork spins out of the corner and lands with a right hook on the chin of Dillian Whyte. And again, we have to comment that through this portion of the contest, through this portion of the 5th round, Dillian Whyte has not yet appeared to engage any gear other than first, operating like a bumper car with just one speed. There he falls with a good right uppercut through the defenses of Franklin. But Franklin coming back with a fusillade of punches, not as heavy as those of Dillian Whyte, but the volume and the variety is certainly coming from the American visitor from Senegal. He slams a hard right hand to the body with the palm was turned upwards, and then a beautiful left uppercut to the right flank of Dillian Whyte. And Jermaine Franklin, as cool as can possibly be, saunters back to his red corner to receive the instructions. Dillian Whyte having his moment, but Jermaine Franklin answering everything.
Yeah, he's dominating the round for me. He's landing the single shots. He's not looking for the power shots. He seems to be winning the exchanges as well. Dillian Whyte, has his moments, but I'm not sure if he seems to be a bit gun-shy tonight, which is something that I don't associate with Dillian Whyte. I expect him to be out there firing. He just doesn't seem to let him go.
Yeah, he don't seem his usual self. And, there's a quote in the press conference I picked up on Buddy McGirt saying, he doesn't watch his fighters' opponents. And do you know what? You can really see it tonight.
Both boxers just being toweled down and having petroleum jelly applied to the eyebrows. It's a tall stool for Dillian Whyte. His legs are barely bent as he sits down on it. But 5 rounds completed, and Dillian Whyte is appearing incredibly one-paced through the 5 completed rounds that we have had. We go into the 6th round. Dillian Whyte perhaps trying to up the tempo, perhaps mindful of the fact that this is a very close contest indeed. Is coming out behind a trip hammer of a lead left jab. Right hand lead fired by Jermaine Franklin, followed by a right hook. And that gives you an idea of the confidence that he's competing with, not bothering to set up his overhand right with a left jab, but bombing with it over the top. And now Jermaine Franklin with a beautifully fluid lead left jab once again. A heavier jab comes as a counter from Dillian Whyte. 3-shot salvo, all blocked by the defenses of Dillian Whyte, as Jermaine Franklin was looking for hooks and uppercuts at mid-range. Good left hook landed to the body once again from Dillian Whyte. And his work to the body, the man known as the body snatcher, cannot be discounted. Perhaps not as aesthetically pleasing as the fluid punch-picking of Jermaine Franklin, who just scored with a right-hand lead and left jab to the body. But Whyte is landing with some heavy singles to the body. There he fires a right hand over the top and a left uppercut. Franklin trapped near the ropes at the neutral corner on the far side of the ring. He edges his way out to center ring as the 2 men exchange jabs once again. Right hand lead flicked out by Dillian Whyte. But again, It's not that he's disinterested or uninterested. He just appears unable to increase the tempo, Dillian Whyte. A left-right combination with a right hook was ponderously slow from Dillian Whyte, easily evaded by Jermaine Franklin, who scores with a right-hand lead between Dillian Whyte's defenses. Dillian Whyte comes back with a left hook to the body, but now it's Jermaine Franklin on the front foot, the heavier man by 6 pounds, backing up Dillian Whyte to the ropes on the far side of the ring and scoring with punches to the body. Dillian Whyte walks his way back out to centre ring, pushes Franklin backwards as the two men beyond punching range. It's Dillian Whyte who breaks the stare down, scoring with a left jab. Beautiful bolo shot to the body with the right hand. First and third boxing from Jermaine Franklin, and now putting a combination together, touching up Dillian Whyte with shots that aren't necessarily powerful, but remember, he's weighed in at 18 stone 5 pounds, Jermaine Franklin, and he knows how to punch, so there's going to be a fair amount of pop on them. Dillian Whyte sets himself for a left-right combination, followed by a left hand to the right rib cage of Jermaine Franklin. But Jermaine Franklin, again, as he's done all contest long, answers back with a jab of his own. There he scored with a left jab to the body, but perhaps rather notably, it was devoid of the snap that the previous left jabs have had. And then Jermaine Franklin complains about a left hand to the body from Dillian Whyte being low. Dillian Whyte perhaps encouraged by that. On the front foot, his hands are around his pecs. That leaves his chin unprotected. Right hand, left uppercut to the body of Dillian Whyte, who looks for a left hook over the top. Jermaine Franklin out with a double right hand. Right hand to the body, right hook over the top. And then beautiful combinations, both left and right from Jermaine Franklin, who is demonstrating undimmable competitive spirit through the midpoint of this heavyweight contest scheduled for 12. A brilliant round with Dillian Whyte perhaps enjoyed his best portion of the round towards the conclusion, but Franklin answered straight back.
Yeah, I mean, Franklin, you know, even when he gets caught or loses a tiny section of a round, maybe a 10-second burst with Dillian Whyte, Franklin straight away redeems himself and comes back with the shots that he got caught with. You know, you can't fault him tonight. It's been incredible, and Dillian Whyte is starting to do a little bit more, but I feel like he's not doing enough.
It just seems very lacklustre for me. Jermaine Franklin, he seems to be up for it and he wants to win. I think Dillian Whyte could be possibly relying on his power too much, but you've got to pick up rounds as you go, because at the minute, Jermaine Franklin is taking the rounds.
So how have you got it, guys, halfway through the contest? Lee Wood?
Yeah, I might be being a bit critical, but I've given Dillian Whyte one round.
Exactly the same for me. Dillian Whyte 1 round. Jermaine Franklin is in control here halfway.
So halfway through this first scheduled, this 12 rounder, the first scheduled 12 rounder in this, the 22nd fight of Jermaine Franklin's professional career. And again, a jab to the body, left hook to the chin from Jermaine Franklin is an eye-catching combination. Dillian Whyte trying to establish a flicking left jab, but thus far he has appeared incredibly one-paced. He hasn't been able to show any variance in the rate or the pace of his work, and Jermaine Franklin just flicking out a left jab and scoring with it, and perhaps most notably as Dillian Whyte scores with the right hook over the top. The follow-up right uppercut was delivered from his kneecap and missed by millimeters. Good success from Dillian Whyte. Right hand through the guard, followed by a left hook, then a flicking left jab. But Jermaine Franklin keeping his composure, staying in the pocket, tucking up behind high-held gloves. Dillian Whyte bringing the gloves down, trying to find a home for his punches. But then the same tactic was employed by Jermaine Franklin. Beautiful punch picking once again, snaking his gloves in between the defenses of Dillian Whyte to score with an impressive combination. Minute gone in this 6th round, as Dillian Whyte on the front foot, flicking out a triple left jab, but they were all caught by the gloves of Jermaine Franklin, who is putting on the earmuffs and peering in between. Now his left hand down by his belt line, and he employing the cross-arm defense with his right arm before bull-rushing Dillian Whyte and tackling him around the body. Referee John Latham separates the two men to get them back to beyond punching range. And conditioning and fitness, one suspects, is going to be a crucial component in this contest in particular, as Dillian Whyte gets busy with a combination. A flashing right uppercut just grazed the bearded chin of Jermaine Franklin, but as he's done all contest long, he tried to fire back but couldn't find the range. Dillian Whyte briefly putting the head of Jermaine Franklin beneath his left armpit, applying the headlock. Right cross, right uppercut success, and then a hard right-left slammed in from Dillian Whyte. Now he's getting plenty of leverage onto his punches, pinning Jermaine Franklin on the ropes on the far side of the ring, and that is a considerable amount of bulk. The 17 stone 13 pounds and the 18 stone 5 of Dillian Whyte testing the tension of the strands a few moments ago. Now they're back in the space of ring center. Beautiful movement in the pocket from Jermaine Franklin, avoiding the combination attempted by Dillian Whyte by spinning off in clockwise fashion to his left. Two men exchanging jabs, left jab to the body. First and third boxing once again from Jermaine Franklin, who started with a left jab to the body, was countered by a left jab from Dillian Whyte, but the final word in that engagement coming from Jermaine Franklin. He just dabbed at his nose to check whether it's injured. I don't think he has sustained an injury. It's not bleeding. Dillian Whyte getting over the front foot, backing up Franklin with a jab on the 10-second clapper. That brings Franklin into life. He gets on the front foot, but his attempted combination was inaccurate. Dillian Whyte coming forward behind a left jab and right cross, but he too was off the mark. 6 rounds completed, and the pace just slowing in that round. The accuracy decreasing as well. Fraser Clark, how did you see it?
I think that was a better round for Dillian Whyte. I've just given him that round. Jermaine Franklin seemed to slow down a little bit, and he was resting on the ropes, and he allowed Dillian Whyte to tee off with them big shots. I think, this is where Dillian Whyte's experience might come into the fight now. He needs to find that second gear and definitely step up and look to take this guy out of here now.
Yeah, the same. I gave Dillian Whyte that round, but I don't think it's because he had a better round. I just think Franklin had a round off, had a bit of a rest. He's been doing a lot more consistently over the fight, and now he thought, what, I'll have a round off just after the halfway mark.
So in addition to Jesse Addison, in Jermaine Franklin's corner, he's got the strength conditioner, Lorenzo Adams. He racked up a perfect record in the professional ranks, the 2-time National Golden Gloves champion, 15-0 as a light welterweight between 2004 and 2006. So plenty of experience in the corner of the visiting boxer from America. Dillian Whyte out behind a trip hammer of a lead left hand, scoring. Whereas Jermaine Franklin just waiting to launch his own left jabs. Nice sneaky left uppercut landed inside from Dillian Whyte, and it's a brisker start to the round for Dillian Whyte. Right hand nudged into the body. It was a right cross from Jermaine Franklin, with the two boxers operating on top of the logo at center ring. Dillian Whyte flicking up a jab from around his belt line. Jermaine Franklin hit to it, employing beautiful head movement in the pocket to make Dillian Whyte miss. And then he catches that left jab with his right hand. His hands coiled, looking to counter Jermaine Franklin, blocking and parrying the left jab with his right hand once again before coming back with that fluid lead left of his own to both head and body. Scores with a 2-shot combination, left-right to the body of Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte looking for a right uppercut, but it was caught up in the forearms. And then right hand success for Jermaine Franklin. Right cross over the top, left uppercut through the middle. And the expression of Dillian Whyte has remained phlegmatic. There he takes a stiff left jab, beautifully accurate right hand in between his defenses. And then a corkscrew right hook swivels the head of Dillian Whyte during a fluid combination from the fast-fisted Jermaine Franklin. Approaching the midpoint of this 8th round. Dillian Whyte on the front foot, applying the forearm to the face of Jermaine Franklin. Franklin responds with a foul tactic of his own, charging Dillian Whyte with a left shoulder to the sternum. John Latham was hit to that infringement and spoke to Jermaine Franklin in no uncertain terms about it. Beautiful combination punching again from Jermaine Franklin. Started by a double left jab to the body, finished by a right cross left hook to the head. And now it's notable that it's Dillian Whyte employing a clinch, walking Jermaine Franklin all the way across the ring, from ring center to the neutral corner on the far side of the ring, forcing the intervention of referee John Latham. Hard left hook slammed into the body of Dillian Whyte by Jermaine Franklin. He's operating out of the neutral corner on the far side of the ring. Dillian Whyte remaining patient, but perhaps he's being too patient, too passive, because he's being outworked through this portion of the round. Another 2-shot salvo from Jermaine Franklin. And again, there's the response from Dillian Whyte, punctuated by a right hook to the head after he had success to the body. And now with Jermaine Franklin having had a good portion of the round, is Dillian Whyte looking to counter in response. Backing up Jermaine Franklin towards the blue corner. Jermaine Franklin breathing through an open mouth now, being backed up by a double jab and then a hard right hand left hook to the body from Dillian Whyte. Jermaine Franklin standing stock still in the corner. He's slammed in, hit by 2 slamming shots to his head, followed by a burst of punches to the body from Dillian Whyte. He counters, does Jermaine Franklin, finishing with a right hand to the body, but that was first and third boxing from Dillian Whyte. Good portion of the round for him, and you get the sense that Jermaine Franklin is just slowing down here with the 8th round in the book, and that is allowing Dillian Whyte to be the busier boxer. landing more volume, which isn't something we've seen for the majority of this contest. Let's listen in to the red corner to the instructions of Jesse Addison in the direction of Jermaine Franklin. So, Dillian, Fraser Clark was telling us before the contest that you only get a certain amount of instructions when you return to the corner in between rounds in a professional boxing ring. And we're not able to pick up any of the sounds that were coming from Jesse Addison. But it does appear as though Jermaine Franklin was slowing down in that 8th round. So both boxers answer the bell to begin round number 9. Jermaine Franklin was out of the ring for 2 years and 7 months prior to May of this year. Of course, everybody was disrupted by COVID as Jermaine Franklin, after slowing down in the 8th round, getting busy with work to the body, left jabs, right hooks to the torso of Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte fashioning a clinch once again. But October 2019 was Jermaine Franklin's last bout prior to COVID. He wasn't then back in the ring until May of this year. During that time, he endured a really difficult period as he scores with a treble left jab. Dillian Whyte comes back with a single jab of his own. He was declared bankrupt, he had managerial issues, and he took a job overnight, 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. at a roofing factory to put food on the table and provide for his family. So here he is in this life-changing opportunity, acquitting himself very well indeed. But it is notable that his work rate has slowed down in the last round. There he's scoring with the left hand. It was a hook turned into a double jab, and now he's getting behind the left jab once again. That's the punch that has served him really well throughout the entirety of this contest. Hard left hand slammed into the body with the palm turned upwards from Jermaine Franklin, but then it's a multitude of jabs, 4 of them fired out by Dillian Whyte. Double left hook for Jermaine Franklin, body then head, followed by another left hook to the head from Jermaine Franklin. Dillian Whyte doesn't appear to be overly troubled by the power, but again, Jermaine Franklin taking advantage of the opportunities that his accurate hands are fashioning. Halfway through this 9th round here, and it's a very close contest. Dillian Whyte perhaps getting himself back in the ascendancy over the previous couple of rounds, but prior to that, Jermaine Franklin perhaps getting the better of the majority of the preceding rounds, all of which have been very close and very keenly contested. Double jab success from Dillian Whyte, and then there's a jab on an unprotected chin. Right hand to the body followed by a left hook from Dillian Whyte brings a wry smile to the lips of Jermaine Franklin. And again, by engaging with and acknowledging Dillian Whyte like that, you can be sure that the salvo got Jermaine Franklin's attention. Referee John Latham separates the two men. Jermaine Franklin is near the blue corner on the far side of the ring. He's looking to set up combinations behind that lead left hand once again. Scores with a spearing left jab to the body, which will doubled up and then came back with a right hand to the head. Dillian Whyte, in some respects, it's like he's a bigger brother sparring a little brother, because he's but Jermaine Franklin is getting his shots away and Dillian is just content to absorb them. But these are point-scoring punches that will be doing Jermaine Franklin's scorecard the world of good and could well be putting Dillian Whyte in a precarious position. Oh, that's a beautiful right hand over the top from Jermaine Franklin. And all of a sudden, Dillian Whyte's on unsteady legs. The 10-second clapper has sounded. And Jermaine Franklin ending the round in the ascendancy. Dillian Whyte holding on to the top rope at the blue corner on the far side of the ring, where Jermaine Franklin's pressure punches put him to as the bell sounded. A terrific single overhand right dipped the knees of Dillian Whyte and left him on really unsteady legs. Is the 60-second interval going to be enough for his conditioning to allow his senses and coordination to recover? Lee Wood, your thoughts?
I thought Dillian Whyte was winning the first half of that round, then Franklin started to pick it up, landing some very light combos, and all of a sudden a slip right hand over the top hurt Dillian Whyte and rocked him, and that's won Franklin the round, to be honest.
Yeah, I feel like Dillian now, he needs to come out and he needs a knockout for me. Franklin seems to be in control, he had a bit of a better round, but Franklin, he's at a canter at this minute in time in the fight.
So Dillian Whyte shaken up by a combination which was started by a right hand in the closing stages of round number 9. Here we are in round number 10, and skipping to his left in a circular motion, clockwise fashion, is Jermaine Franklin behind a beautiful left jab. Dillian Whyte responds with his patented body snatching attack. Now he brings the combination punches up to the head. Jermaine Franklin standing stock still but catching shots with his gloves. Right hand counter from Dillian Whyte after Jermaine Franklin had a 2-shot success to the body. Dillian Whyte looking for the lead left jab. Beautiful left hand once again. Double jab to the body, then turned into a left hook by Jermaine Franklin, who after taking a break in rounds 7 and 8, he's back on the front foot now and getting back in the ascendancy of this contest. There's a burst of punches to the body, ended by a left uppercut to the head from Jermaine Franklin. There he fires out a lead left hook, and again, no potency on it. Good left hook landed to the body by Dillian Whyte. 4-punch combination sees the final right cross get through from Jermaine Franklin. Left hook lands from Dillian Whyte as the two boxers within punching range in the middle of the boxing ring. Beautiful double left hand from Jermaine Franklin again. Hook to the head, then to the body. Dillian Whyte nudging punches through the guard up the middle. 2 nudging uppercuts landed on Jermaine Franklin's chin from Dillian Whyte, as though he's trying to set up a real power shot. There he shoves Jermaine Franklin to the neutral corner on this near side of the ring, and he's touching Jermaine Franklin on his chin once again. But Jermaine Franklin so composed, it was like he was walking out of a telephone box. Dillian Whyte had him in a confined position, and yet he just skipped off to his right, turned the tables, and now he's back in the space of center ring. Halfway through this round, and it's a treble left jab right cross from Jermaine Franklin, who is boxing with wonderful fluidity. Dillian Whyte lands a heavy left hand to the body of Franklin. He scores 4s with a left jab, with Franklin backed up near the blue corner on the far side of the ring. And without wishing to be unkind to Dillian Whyte, who is being honest and industrious, and he scores with a double left jab before taking a left jab to the body. There he pins Franklin to the ropes with a double left jab. Sneaky left hook followed by a corkscrew right hand lashed out by Jermaine Franklin with his back on the ropes, followed by another right cross. But it appears as though Dillian Whyte's successes as he lands with a 2-shot burst to the body, and again they're heavy punches that are sinking in above the belt line. There's a right hand to the head. Left hook to the head followed by a body shot from Dillian Whyte. That prompts Jermaine Franklin from getting off the ropes. But for the most part, without wishing to be unkind to Dillian Whyte, it appears as though his successes are only coming when Jermaine Franklin is taking a breather. Dillian Whyte leaning all over Jermaine Franklin, bending his back over the ropes. Now the referee has called time, John Latham, and is speaking to Dillian Whyte in no uncertain terms about that foul tactic of pinning his man to the strands and applying his 17 stone 5 pounds. That's a cracking right hand landed by Dillian Whyte. His best shot of the entire contest. He sent a shower of spray from the dreads that are plaited of Jermaine Franklin, but he took it, barely blinked, glared at Dillian Whyte before swaggering back to his red corner. We're preparing to go into the championship round, and Dillian Whyte could have an awful lot to do in this final 6 minutes, Lee Wood.
For sure, he's got a lot to do, but that was a positive finish to that last round. He landed a great shot. I think he shook him, he hurt him. But the first half of the round was all Franklin again. Dillian Whyte has got to build off this last bit of success if he wants to win this fight.
Yeah, we need a big finish with Dillian. We're talking about if he comes through this, the big AJ fight, but to do that, he needs to really kick on these last 2 rounds. For me, he needs a knockout. I think Franklin, like you say, when he has a rest, it lets Dillian in a bit, but he's in full control for me at the minute.
So we're into uncharted territory in the career of Jermaine Franklin, hearing the timekeeper call round 11 for the very first time, and Dillian Whyte meets him with a jab, but then so too Jermaine Franklin responds with an incessant lead left hand. The boxer's in the middle of the boxing ring. Left jab scored by Dillian Whyte, turned it into a hook, but Jermaine Franklin, the busier boxer, showing wonderful variety once again, scoring to both head and body. There's a corkscrew left hand that snakes between the defenses of Dillian Whyte, and all of a sudden Dillian Whyte's foot movement is becoming less coordinated. I'm not suggesting that he's on the brink of being taken out, but he appears to be incredibly exhausted, feeling the pace. And the punches that Jermaine Franklin is landing is now affecting the balance of Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte looking for success to the body, his hands around his belt line, leaving his chin totally unprotected, and that could well present an opportunity for Franklin to uncoil an uppercut. Action is near the red corner on this near side of the ring. Jermaine Franklin with his back to us, touched up by a jab from Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte leaning on top of Jermaine Franklin. Referee John Latham prizes the two men apart. Dillian Whyte with a heavy left jab, he turns it into a double jab, flicking it backhanded fashion. Hard left hook to the head, followed by a right hook to the body from Jermaine Franklin, who moves to his right, counterclockwise, to get back to the space of center ring. Dillian Whyte cuts off that potential avenue of escape, and now backs up Franklin to the ropes before Franklin responds and backs up Dillian Whyte to the ropes on the far side of the ring. Two-shot burst to the body by Dillian Whyte. Jermaine Franklin catapults off the ropes on this near side of the ring, just near the neutral corner. Near the neutral corner on the far side of the ring before referee John Latham separates the two boxers once again. Double left jab from Dillian Whyte is countered by a left hook, left jab from Jermaine Franklin. And now Dillian Whyte piling up the points with a jab. There's a hard right hand slammed into the body of Jermaine Franklin. Dillian Whyte countered with a two-shot salvo of his own, but then Jermaine Franklin kept the attack going. First and third boxing. Ponderous right hand fired in by Dillian Whyte. It was easily evaded by Jermaine Franklin. The two boxers tying one another up just above the red corner near this near side of the boxing ring. Dillian Whyte with a forearm beneath Jermaine Franklin's chin, looking for two uppercuts. Jermaine Franklin retreating to the ropes, and I just wonder, as he fights gamely off the ropes, Jermaine Franklin, but the crowd roaring because Dillian Whyte not too far away with a left hook. And remember, that the most potent punch in his arsenal, but he scarcely fired it with any venom tonight. The man whose maxim is maximum violence, well, he's been operating at a very slow tempo for the majority of this contest. Final 20 seconds of this penultimate round. Jermaine Franklin pinning Dillian Whyte to the ring ropes on the far side of the boxing ring. John Latham speaking to Jermaine Franklin about leading with the head, sticking the nut in on a Saturday night here in northwest London. And on the bell, an overhand right wasn't too far away from Jermaine Franklin. Let's listen in to the instructions from Buddy McGirt ahead of the final round of this heavyweight contest scheduled for 12.
It's the last round. Listen, don't look for the knockout. Okay, just score point. Okay? If you hurt him, go to the body. Don't go crazy. Don't get hit with nothing stupid. Hey, Dill, listen to me. Can you give me 3 minutes?
Well, you heard the instructions from Buddy McGirt saying don't go for the knockout. Lee Wood, your response to those instructions that we've just heard from the Hall of Famer?
No, I think that would be good instructions to Franklin right now. You know, stay on the outside, win the round, nothing dangerous. But Dillian Whyte has got to go for the knockout, in my opinion. I think he needs it. I can't see any other way he can win the fight.
I'm in shock. For me, Dillian Whyte needs the round of his life to win this fight.
So into the 12th and final round we go. Referee John Latham brings both boxers together and instructs them to perform a touch of gloves. Dillian Whyte took every second of the 60 and then some on that tall stool over in the blue corner. Buddy McGirt with the instructions not to go for the knockout. Does that suggest that he thinks his man is in a commanding position on the scorecards? From our vantage point here ringside, it's an incredibly close contest. As Jermaine Franklin scores with a right hand to the body, right hook, right hand to the head and left hook to the body. Dillian Whyte trying a right hand, but he's countered by a beautiful two-shot combination from Jermaine Franklin, which swivels his head. Dillian Whyte remaining on the front foot, but again, with no disrespect intended, he's resembled a mummy for large portions of this contest tonight. He's come forward at one pace in straight lines, and there hasn't been the dynamism. There he lands a right uppercut which swivels the chin of Jermaine Franklin, but Franklin biting down in his mouthpiece and firing back while in the pocket. Jermaine Franklin, after having his chin checked by that right uppercut, coming back with a greater volume of punches to try and turn that combination, that exchange in his favor. Double left jab is evaded by Jermaine Franklin, who employed good head movement before responding with a left jab to the body, right hand over the top. The boxers are at center ring. Dillian Whyte edging forwards incrementally. Jermaine Franklin, with his back to the ropes on the far side of the ring, fights his way off the strands with a left hook, right hand over the top. And now Dillian Whyte looking for a right uppercut on the inside. Dillian Whyte appears to be feeling the pace. His mouth is wide open, but he gamely comes forward. Franklin moving counterclockwise to his right to maintain the gap between himself and his opponent. There he piles up the points with a left jab and scores, which he then ends that combination with a right hook, left hook around the corner. Dillian Whyte responds with a burst of punches to the body. And again, we cannot discount the body work that Dillian Whyte has invested in all night long. There, Jermaine Franklin scored to the left, right to the body. Left hook counter to the head from Jermaine Franklin. Solid shot over the top from the right hand from Dillian Whyte, but Jermaine Franklin again showing sturdy punch resistance, but now he's backed up to the ropes just above our commentary position. Dillian Whyte fighting through the fatigue on the front foot, and again lands on the bearded chin of Jermaine Franklin, and now lands a right hook, left hook, and Jermaine Franklin totted out of the neutral corner, and this one heating up in the final 30 seconds of this 12th and final round. Jermaine Franklin has shown a terrific set of whiskers here tonight. Dillian Whyte willing himself forward despite clearly feeling the fatigue. He wound up an overhand right from last week, but it was off the target by some distance. The two boxers taking a breather. Jermaine Franklin pinning Dillian Whyte to the ropes on this near side of the ring. Whyte tries the right hand again, and then a left hook sends Jermaine Franklin tottering into the ropes. He catapults off the strands, and the two men engage in a furious exchange as the bell sounds to conclude 12 rounds of intriguing, enthralling, action-packed 3 minutes for the 12-round session here at Wembley Arena. Jermaine Franklin has made a name for himself in the heavyweight division. He came over as an unheralded opponent, quite frankly selected to provide a shop window for Dillian Whyte and get him back into the big time. But make no mistake, he has competed with the world title challenger Dillian Whyte on even terms here tonight. We're going to the verdict of the three scoring judges, Michael Alexander, Gregors Molenda and Jurgen Langos, to determine the outcome of this one. Each and every round was close indeed, and it's going to be the verdict of those three ringside observers which will determine the victor of this contest. Lee Wood, how do you see it at the end of that 12th and final round?
You know, I added my scores together, but I think Franklin has edged it on points. You know, in that last round, you know, I pulled my headgear off to try and listen to the atmosphere whilst I was watching the fight, and it's very different to me listening to the atmosphere and watching the fight with my headphones on. You know, it may be scored different, but I have Franklin quite wide.
Yeah, same for me. I think Franklin's won the fight. Dillian left it too late for me. Just a ponderous performance from him, and I expected better, you know. I just think maybe the knockout against Tyson Fury might have affected him. Might be an ongoing thing.
So, both boxers having their gloves removed. Jermaine Franklin having his gloves removed. Dillian Whyte is already over in the middle of the boxing ring, having a bit of a conversation with Eddie Hearn, who's up there as well, tonight's promoter. Dillian Whyte making his way over to the red corner to exchange messages and sentiments with Jermaine Franklin. But what a contest, my goodness. We said that an unbeaten fighter, we simply don't know how good they are, but what Jermaine Franklin has demonstrated tonight, irrespective of the verdict, is that he is a very good operator indeed. Dillian Whyte pushed every inch of the way. Which way is this one going to go? David Diamante is in position. John Latham has brought both boxers to center ring, and now we announce the verdict. We await the verdict, which will determine the victor of this hard-fought 12-round heavyweight contest.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get a nice round of applause out here for both of these warriors. After 12 rounds of action here at Wembley, London, England, we go to the judges' scorecards. Michael Alexander, 115, 115, a draw. Gregors Molenda and Jurgen Langos both scored this bout 116 to 112 for your winner by majority decision,